Imagine living your life after 50 and feeling energized and excited about your future. Welcome to the Women in the Middle podcast, the podcast for women who are ready to figure out what they want and create the life they deserve. Here's your host and master certified life coach, Susie Rosenstein.
Hey there, today's Encore episode is all about how to get unstuck with a midlife vision board. Let's go. Welcome back to the podcast Women in the Middle. I'm your host, Susie Rosenstein, your master certified coach and midlife mentor, and I am so glad to be here with you again for this week's Encore episode, which is all about vision boards and how to make sure they really work for you. It's that time of year again, and if you're listening in real time, Happy New Year. Vision boards are a popular and super useful thing to do to really get you going in the right direction for you. The right direction for you. Have you done a vision board before? I bet you've at least been invited to a vision board party. They're pretty popular. Well, it turns out that the good old vision board is a great way to get unstuck and regret-proof your life, or at least take a step in that direction. It's your chance to take charge and do what you can to make sure that you don't have regrets, to be more intentional, to think more about what you want to do, what you want to say, what you want to try, and how you want to spend your valuable time on this planet. Now, before we get started, I want to make sure you know about the awesome free gift that I have for you on my website. It's called Regret Proof Your Vision Board Guide. It's a free and powerful vision board brainstorming template. It's the perfect way for you to start thinking about what you want to create in your life on purpose. You can download your Regret Proof Your Vision Board worksheet and learn 7 easy steps to make a vision board that really works. Just head over to www.susierosenstein.com/regret-proof-vision. Also, if you want to join me live and are listening in real time, make sure to register for my free vision board webinar called How to Make a Vision Board That Really Works. You can go to www.susierosenstein.com/webinar and you'll find it there. And you know, I host monthly free webinars. Actually, I don't know if you knew that. So whenever you check this link, www.susierosenstein.com/webinar, you'll find something fun to sign up for there. All right, let's dive in. As you know, in midlife, you're probably thinking about using a vision board to begin to make things happen or to make things happen again. Or maybe you've been wondering if you might even be having a midlife crisis and you're finally ready to have a good, clear vision for what you want rather than just spinning around and spinning around. An excellent vision, clarity of vision, a reimagined vision, moving forward to create the path to your future. That works, right? Why not that? And when you throw in some arts and crafts, what could be better? I mean, come on, you get to go to Michael's. That makes me giddy with excitement. That is totally one of my happy places for sure. I remember when the kids were small, sometimes we'd be in the Michael's part of town and I would say, hey, do you guys mind if I just stop into Michael's? Remember, I have 3 sons. And they're like, no, it was like horrible. They didn't want to go. And then somebody had a science project where they needed to go to Michael's and they sheepishly said to me, Mom, can we go to Michael's? And I'm like, what? You want to go to Michael's? Oh my God. I think they needed the planets, you know, those styrofoam balls, something like that. It was so funny. I was just like, you're kidding. We finally get to go to Michael's and you asked me. So funny. Anyway, let's get back to the vision board. So let's start by thinking about being stuck and what that feels like. Not great, right? It feels stagnant, confused, bored, that sort of thing. And now imagine how you might need to feel to make this whole vision board thing in the spirit for which it was intended, to capture your hopes and dreams about what you actually want to be part of your life. It's you being intentional about your vision for your life. Can you feel it? This little craft project is more than a craft project. Remember, the title of this episode is How to Get Unstuck with a Vision Board in Midlife. And, you know, that's serious business. I think the craft project angle, it's kind of like pulling you out of or away from your stuckness. Just a little bit, right? You get all excited about the arts and crafts. You start to dip your toe into some magazines, good old-fashioned magazines that you used to like touch and hold and flip a page, looking for ways to illustrate what you want, those encouraging words, the beautiful graphics, the inspirational quotes. All of a sudden, you're going there. You're leaning into your future self just a little bit. Even when you're stuck, you can do that just a little bit. And if you're not that stuck, it might be a little easier. So for you, it helps you clarify what you want. And that free vision board template that I have for you as a gift will help you a ton. It really will. So a vision board really is an awesome way to say goodbye to feeling stuck in midlife and take a step, even if it's a baby step, in the direction of being more intentional. So vision boards are actually regret-proofing tools, and they can really help you start to take action that is, what I always say, regret-proofing your life. And in this case, also regret-proofing your second chapter. The problem is, however, that vision boards don't always work. You might go through the motions, you collect the magazines. It's kind of like the planners, right? You collect the planners, but you don't plan. So with the vision board, you collect the magazines, you cut out the pictures, but you find that all of this effort doesn't always work to create the future that you want. And there are a few key reasons why your vision board hasn't been that successful in the past. I've talked about these reasons in detail in episode 132, but here they are in the nutshell. First, you make your beautiful vision board and then you forget to look at it. And that's a problem because one of the reasons to make something so visual is so that it can help remind you of what it is that you want in your life. So if it's under your bed or rolled up in the closet, it will be harder to look at. Second, your crappy thoughts about running out of time have influenced what you're allowing yourself to dream about. So you can call these limiting beliefs about what's possible, but basically your thinking can be like a sneaky wet blanket on your dreams. And third, you ignore your feelings. So as you might recall, your thinking is related to your emotions. So if you're thinking in a way that's not useful to your ability to create your future, your feelings won't be useful either. Sometimes you're just not focused on this. And this can all seep into your vision board and almost set it up to fail. So those three things. First, you make your vision board and then you forget to look at it. Second, your crappy thoughts about running out of time have influenced what you're allowing yourself to dream about. And third, you ignore your feelings. Now, if you want to dive into these reasons in more detail, head over to episode 132. But these are the concepts in general and in the nutshell. So if you're ready to embrace that, you will be setting yourself up for success. I'm going to repeat that because it's really important. You can't just set it and forget it when it comes to a vision board. You have to create it and then commit to taking action and responsibility yourself to bring your vision to life. Now, as you can see, there's more to this whole vision board exercise than you may have imagined. So I think it's time for an attitude check. It's important to ask yourself what you're thinking about the vision board exercise itself. As I'm blabbing on and on about it, what is coming up for you? Are you a believer? Do you think it's a worthwhile exercise? Have you been curious about how a vision board might actually be able to help you with your happiness? Or do these ideas just kind of make you want to roll your eyeballs into the back of your head? Maybe a little bit too woo for you. I don't know. So I get it. Sometimes it feels like everyone's just getting on the bandwagon and no one really knows why. And it's a fun excuse to collect magazines, drink wine, and gab with your girlfriends while you do this sort of thing together. I get it. I really do. Like everything in life, though, your mindset will affect your outcome. So if you want to make sure your vision board works, you have to believe that it will. Now, vision boards help you think about the future. I don't mind having a bit of encouragement to do that. I don't care if I'm lured in with some crafts and my favorite pointy scissors. You probably want to check in with your attitude about next year as well. I know I'm not alone, and I have a feeling you probably want to do that too. So here's some prompts. Are you hopeful? Are you positive? Are you still thinking about what's possible, or did you stop doing that? What do you really want? Do you feel stuck in negativity? Do you feel stuck in overwhelm? Is the uncertainty really getting in your way? An intentionally positive mindset will help you create a vision board that's really reflective of what you want to create in the next year. So let's go back to the basics for a minute. Really think about it. What is a vision board? A vision board, quite simply, is just a visual tool to help you focus on what you want. They're personal in that they're filled with images and words and sometimes something, little memories or ticket stubs, or I always have a feather on mine, little things that depict what you want to focus on and create in your life on purpose. Emphasis on purpose. So I believe that a vision board can be really powerful as a way to get you to think about what you want to create in your life. And midlife is a great time to think about what you want to focus on for your next chapter. So it could be for the next year. It could be for the next chapter. And some people also do vision boards for parts of their lives. They may have a vision board for their career, or they may have a vision board specifically for self-care. It's totally up to you, but this can really help you get unstuck. It really can, believe it or not. So pause for a second and think about how this might actually work. Vision boards actually set out your intentional life in motion because they remind you to think about what you want more often. It's not all about just thinking about what you want, though. There's more to it than this. But it starts there because there are thoughts behind those pretty images that you've included. Vision boards, or sometimes people call them dream boards, they can be a surprisingly effective first step to bring the things you really, 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 really want in your life. Here's how. You feel busy, right? And when you have a hectic life like this, like most of us, it can be hard to dream. In fact, I'm pretty sure that a few decades have gone by since you really thought about what you wanted and made some serious plans for the future. Right? Maybe you did this in high school, maybe college or university. My clients tell me that it's been years, and that's how it was for me too. So even though you know that, it's probably been a while. Vision boards help you get clear. When you set out to complete a vision board, you allow yourself to have specific thoughts about your purpose, your goals, your desires, and your dreams. You might even think about values or key words, right? Do you have a word of the year? You're going to think about stuff that you don't always think about. And when you intentionally choose images to include on your vision board, there are thoughts behind each image. And finding the images and figuring out how to include what you're thinking about, this all takes time. Time that you are really focused on what you actually want. Now this, my friend, is a very good thing. Use the thoughts behind the images you choose to make your vision board work. Use those thoughts behind the images. Be aware of them. These thoughts create your emotional state, your feelings, and this is where things get interesting. Feelings can be an amazingly powerful aspect of what happens next, what you actually do. Your behavior is based on your feelings. In fact, everything you do or don't do is because of the way you feel. And your vision board isn't all that's needed to create changes in your life. But wouldn't that be amazing? You just go to Michael's, pull out your scissors and your glue, pull together a beautiful vision board, and poof, like magic, it all comes to life. Well, my friend, it doesn't work that way. This is a big mistake that people can make. We're attracted to the idea that the vision board has a lot of power, but it can't do it all. The outcomes that you create in your life are all because of your thinking. Your results or your outcomes, what you have and what you create, that's what proves your thoughts. It's all related. So this whole process of thinking, feeling, and doing is actually the working engine behind a successful vision board. The thing is, it's simply not enough to create a vision board and focus on what you want. That's not enough to make it move forward. The piece that's missing is what will motivate you to action. So let me repeat that. If you're not clear about what you're thinking, you may not take the action you want to take that's reflected in your vision board. So it's all related, but you have to be really clear. Your thinking and your feelings are key and are what's required to be like all lined up in order for you to move forward the way you want to in your next chapter. So as I mentioned earlier, this is one of the reasons why vision boards often fail. I want you to think about it. What will help you overcome what's going to get in your way? What can help you overcome an obstacle between you and your vision for your life? So obstacles are going to come up. Like think about right now, there's stuff you want to do and you're not doing it. The reason? Obstacles. That's how life is. You're going to have some great ideas and some really pretty pictures on your vision board, but the answer to how you're going to overcome stuff that gets in the way is the way you feel. Your feelings are why you do things or don't do things, like I mentioned before. Your emotions are what fuels your behavior. Now, you're the one who has to do something differently to create the change that you want. A vision board helps you get clear about what you want. It's an excellent start, and it was fun, but it's not enough. You will also have to adopt a certain way of thinking to produce the results that you want in your life. The results will include action. Now, this is huge, and you really have to commit to it. Now, over the years, as a life coach working with midlife women, I've led vision board workshops, but I've also led vision board accountability groups. This has been super fun and very inspiring and insightful. It's really like putting the pedal to the metal when it comes to revving up the power behind these vision boards. We took the vision boards seriously and assigned some accountability to them and behind them. We really dialed in the mindfulness part, the awareness of the thoughts related to the vision board priorities, and addressed our responsibility for action head on. Now, what comes up for you when I'm describing this? That's like real commitment to your vision board, not just pasting pretty pictures. Actually, we'll be doing this again in the Women in the Middle Academy, my coaching program. So it's guaranteed to be more than just a pretty vision board project, just more and more commitment. And I know that can be scary, but it also means more intention and more regret proofing your life. So if that lights you up, make sure to get your butt over to the Women in the Middle Academy. Now, I guess the part I really want to emphasize, the vision board work that gets you unstuck, is really perspective about the activity of putting a beautiful vision board together. For sure, it's fun, like I've described, and maybe even a bit meditative to pull it all together. I mean, I get into a major zone when I am cutting, like if I can cut a flower out with my super pointy scissors and really get into it and make it really realistic around the actual lines of the flower, for example, I love that. And I know it can take a long time, but I really get into it. And there's always a lot of plants, flowers, and greenery on my vision board. So that's all fun. And like I said, there is value in getting into that kind of flow and zone and giving yourself a chance to think. But the real power of a vision board is what happens before and after. And I think you're starting to get what I mean by that, by the way I'm describing it in this episode. So think about what you want before you get started. Think of this as a supportive hug you're giving yourself. I really think about that. It's like self-care. Look what I'm doing. What do I want? What am I giving to myself? And I don't want you to skip this part. Most of us are walking around or racing around, just getting from point A to point B in a big chaotic blur. If you're not in a chaotic blur, congratulations. But chaotic blur or not, have you allowed yourself the necessary time to really think about what you want? So that's the rub. Most of us, we don't do that. We don't do it on the regular. We're too busy, or we say we're too busy. We're too busy with life, the mortgage, your job, the kids, your parents, and so on. And before you know it, you're 50 and freaking out and thinking, where did the time go? So I've touched on that today. So just like a colonoscopy when you're 50, I would like to strongly advise you to do a vision board. It's a great way to regret-proof your life and get unstuck. Really think about it. It's not just putting the thing together. It's the prep work at the beginning, all the thought work, allowing yourself to really think about what you want and why, understanding your thoughts and feelings. And then after the pretty vision board is all pulled together, then what are you going to do with it? You're not going to tuck it away. You got to figure out how you're going to make it a regular occurrence to look at it and to think about it. And then the other part that so many of us don't do is we don't commit to it. We don't commit to it the way you commit to brushing your teeth and get the important screenings when you turn 50 and the way you commit to your kids. I really, really want you to think about this. What would commitment to your vision board look like? Remember, I created an amazing worksheet, the Regret Proof Your Vision Board brainstorming worksheet, to help you think through these steps and some of the concepts that I've introduced here. It's a vision board template and will help you really pull things together and prepare. So you can find it at www.susierosenstein.com/regretproofvision/. One of the best ways to live with intention is to think on purpose. This means reminding yourself what you want to think so you can feel the way you want to feel and create the results you want to create. Now, I know this might seem ridiculous, but you really have to remind yourself to think the way you want to think. And if you don't think successful people are doing this, you are wrong. Successful people have to do this because they're human, but they figured it out. That if you want to accomplish goals, you can't just wing it. You have to remind yourself what you want to think. And putting all of this in motion is thinking on purpose. And that's why vision boards can be used as tools to help you live more intentionally. They make it easier to do this. Vision boards make it easy to think on purpose. They remind you of what you want to create in your life. It's really as simple as that. Now, it might seem like a funny concept. It really might. That you have to be like in kindergarten, you have to make a pretty picture. But it's just another way to supervise your mind. It really is. And in midlife, you got to make a special effort to supervise your mind. I mean, we all do at all ages. But now it feels more urgent because you really want to get stuff done and you don't want to waste more time. So just supervise your mind. Just like, just agree that that's how we roll. Thinking and feeling all kinds of things that you don't want to think and feel. That's what will happen if you don't supervise your mind, if you don't really work on managing your mind. When you manage your mind, you can choose to think thoughts that create the feelings you want to feel. And feelings, when you're choosing them, when you're being intentional, why not go with stuff that's more useful to you and your goals? Really. So if you want to feel motivated so that you can have a relationship with your husband that you really want, or if you want to feel motivated to excel at work the way you know you can, then you can use your vision board to remind yourself to think the way you know will actually create the feeling of motivation. And that's what it looks like. See what I mean? So we all need the reminders. Otherwise, it's just too darn easy to get sucked into thinking things like, it's too hard, or I'm afraid I'll fail, or this is a good one, it'll never work. That's one I always think. It'll never work. Classic thoughts. These are just classic thoughts that we all get sucked into thinking. These thoughts create indulgent emotions like worry and overwhelm. It's just not useful to think thoughts like these. It's better to focus on thoughts like this. I'm figuring out how to do it, for example, because this is a thought that actually creates motivation. So images on your vision board can remind you to think thoughts that are useful to you. That's why it's powerful. You can train yourself to think useful thoughts on purpose. Isn't that great? Just to look at an image that you carefully selected with intention, and it reminds you to think the way you want to think. So when you're making your vision board, the responsibility for bringing it to life is still yours. But wow, your vision board can really be the first important step you take to make sure that you don't have regrets going forward. So there's a lot going on right now. There really is. But it's also a perfect time to work on regret-proofing your life with a vision board. So if you haven't downloaded it yet, grab your free Regret Proof Your Vision Board brainstorming worksheet. It will really help you with the structure and thought work that you need to prepare for your vision board and will help you with all of the steps to actually create it. Remember, as an older and wiser woman, you really do owe it to yourself to do a midlife vision board. Get unstuck and regret-proof your life so that you can get on with the good stuff. One thought and one cool idea at a time. I can't wait to see what you come up with. Okay, that's it for this Encore episode. This podcast is all about how to love your life again after 50. It's really all about coaching you to be more intentional and to incorporate mindfulness into your life as a regular practice. This is how you put yourself on your agenda. My focus as your midlife coach is to help you get unstuck, clear, and focused on your current values and priorities so you don't have regrets. I can help you create the success you're looking for because life's just too short to waste time spinning and thinking about what you can't do instead of what you can do. That's why I created the Women in the Middle Happiness Academy with you in mind, because it's a warm, supportive, and fun coaching community of like-minded women who embrace the gift of aging and grow forward together. It's totally possible to feel great about your roadmap to a more fun, meaningful, and regret-free next chapter. I want this for you too. I really do. So let's talk about it and see if the Academy makes sense for you. Apply and book your free, no-obligation consult momentum call at www.womeninthemiddleacademy.com. There are exciting new bonuses that you are not going to want to miss, so go ahead and book that call. And finally, for show notes and links, head over to www.susierosenstein.com and click the podcast tab and look for episode 390. 390! Can you believe it? You'll also see links there for my new show, Women in the Middle Entrepreneurs. Thanks so much for listening. It's time for you to put yourself first, one thought at a time. I'm Susie Rosenstein, and I'll talk to you next week.